Right, hi everyone. This is Richard, and I'm here with Dipesh, who has been using Forecast Forge for some time now. I think he was actually my second or third paying customer there, so many thanks to him for believing in me and getting in on it. Getting in on it early. So we're going to talk today a bit about how he's been using Forecast Forge, what he's been doing with it, and how that's all worked out. So Dipesh, do you want to start us off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Yeah, so I probably describe myself as a marketing data technologist. So anything with data, technology, analytics, and measurement. And I came across Forecast Forward obviously from knowing you, but obviously from working with a client which was based around, which is an e-commerce multi-market client, and I thought we got to a point within how we use data and how we look at analytics and insight is that forecasting was becoming a big thing for them. They were asking questions, but we weren't able to answer it without a paying for data scientists or paying for sophisticated tool where Forecast Forge was there for on a lower cost, but it answers initial business questions that helps them along from where they were looking at this last click or trying to make assumptions. It helps them on to the next phase.
Mm-hmm. So I know we probably don't want to share the name of the client here today, but can you tell us a bit more about their business and the kind of challenges they face with it? I guess as much detail as you feel comfortable giving.
Yeah, so e-commerce business. I think they've been moving in since the lockdown. It's multi-market, so I guess their main challenges were to truly understand the 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 return they were getting, but also to help forecast plan how to work around it, and that was their big question. Because I guess everyone has their peaks and troughs, but also more understanding the impact it can have and how to budget things accordingly around the paid media and all around the email campaigns as well. So those are the main things: paid media budgets and email campaigns. And they're very big into email campaigns because they're very much a membership-based business. So obviously, there are loads of loyalty and how to understand the impacts around everything from email to paid search as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, so some of the stuff you showed me, the membership and email campaigns has been really important for that. That's quite
Yes,
different to a lot of other businesses that I've seen. So what
yes.
what metrics have you been forecasting for them, or what things have you been trying to see the future in?
I mean, it's very basics at the moment. It's mainly looking at traffic, which is probably more secondary, but mainly just revenue. And we just mainly, at the moment, just using Google Analytics data. That's the starting point. I guess as they get on and get um, bit more control over it, bit more understanding of it, then you probably start looking at stuff like profitability kind of data, understand that how that relates to revenue as well. Because you could have cases where you drive high revenue but low profitability. Then it comes back to product performances and channel mixes and so many other variations around it. But for now, it's just basic traffic and revenue.
Yeah, start off with the simple stuff, and then
Yes,
you can do the complicated stuff later once you've got that
yes,
working. And
yes.
what kind of time period were you forecasting for? Were we making sort of short term forecasts, or we're trying to look much further ahead than that?
So I guess when we started talking, it's probably maybe August, September time. I think that's when you kicked off your tour.
Yeah.
So the initial phase was Q4 2020, and that was more. They'd already done the planning. It's more just to give it an indicator of how does it compare up, how does it compare coming to January. And I think if you're right, when you looked at it, we're probably 5% off.
I
If
think
I
it was
recall,
just under 10%.
under 10%. So, and obviously there are mitigating
Sorry, so
circumstances
that's
around that.
Depeche made this forecast in September, forecasting for Q4 in the run up to Christmas, and the end result from his forecast was just less than 10% away from the true figure.
Yeah, and it probably would have been even more closer or over in terms of just mitigating circumstances. So how we just use is more it was maybe used in that period as an overall performance, but when there were spikes and big campaigns to understand what was the impact around that. And I guess that's where the challenges around will come with forecasting and actual data, because obviously you can only plan as much as you have with the machine learning for the data you have. Now, I'm just compiling everything together. I've shared a mini version of what it looks like for the rest of 2021, but now we're going to go into the nitty gritties of, what does it mean by like monthly or quarterly in terms of what they're looking to do. And
So
the forecast I've done is without
like,
any campaign data.
Is that things like if they have a campaign and while that campaign is running, things are trending above forecast, and that would be a good campaign. And
Yeah.
if things are sort of no different from the forecast, then that campaign isn't doing very much.
Yes. Yeah, so that's
so
one element of it.
You're using the forecast to estimate the incremental value of these efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they say X and it delivers ABC and it delivers a higher value, then it's great. So it's more to understand the value of the campaigns they're running, and also just to see in terms of a run rate where they are as well, just to see, if you're forecasting a certain percentage of revenue they're going to be driving more than last year, how does that compare on a cumulative basis, and where are they as well compared to last year?
Yes, because you don't just have a big target number for the year. It's kind of like, to hit that number, we need to be at this point at the end of January, this point at the end of February, and so on.
Yes. And the advantage is we've got 3 years of data now, so we've got a good sizable length of data to really understand the trends behind it as well, which is a big thing in this. I guess the hard thing with anything with forecasting, you don't want to be just looking at such a short date, because I guess the machine learning can only do so much with a smaller volume of data. We've got 3 years of data.
I mean, for Forecast Forge, you need at least 2 years worth of data to get the annual seasonality calculations done. But that's a general thing with any machine learning.
Yeah.
And so, were there any kind of special techniques or things that you had to do to get this forecast so accurate, or any sort of anything clever that you did in the background?
For myself, no. It was literally whatever we created within the Google Sheets, and that was delivered it, obviously, within a deck. But I think nothing else beyond the forecast within the Google Sheets.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what about things like regressor columns or helper columns? Is there anything that worked particularly well there?
Well, I guess that was the initial stumbling block when we started doing it, in terms of we had to add in all the extra columns to work out how it works out. Because I guess when you created it, it was basically put your numbers in and you should deliver, but we had to add in extra regressor columns to work out what is the true revenue, because I guess you had a min, a max, and a high, low, and medium, something I can't remember.
The different estimators. So you've got your sort of best guess in the middle, and then a lower and an upper bound.
Yeah. So I think that's where maybe that's the challenges. Sometimes I guess you have to stick to one column, yeah, but sometimes when we did the reforecast again for this year, it's just working around which one should we really be looking at. And I guess that's where, I guess for my side of it, because I can understand it, but I guess if I were showing that to my client, that's where it might get confusing for them. But obviously, I'm there.
Clients don't always like predictive intervals, do they?
No. But yeah, I think is learning for all. It's learning for me, it's learning for them, also learning for you, because we're trying to work out what is the best way, and every client every business model is going to have a slightly different way of understanding what they want and how they want it as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's good to have it in a spreadsheet, because it gives people that flexibility. We've sort of already touched on this already, but how easy was it to make these forecasts?
I mean, once we got past the stumbling block of creating the regression columns and everything around that, then literally you can do it. If you're doing it for a year, you can probably do it within an hour or so, just to get everything sorted out. within the
So
Google Sheets.
there's a
Then
sort
it's
of
a matter of how
sort of
you
setup
manipulate
phase
the
where you
data.
need to figure out the best way of doing things, and then after that, updating
Yes,
is really easy. Okay, well that's good to hear, because
yes.
that's
So the
how I
setup,
think it should be.
yeah, yeah. I think the setup phase will be a little bit, if it just depends on the requirements and the business model and the kind of data how easy is the data coming out and how good is the data. But once you get past that setup phase, then literally it's probably an hour's job at max, depending on how far you're forecasting and what kind of changes you're making as well.
Oh, good. That sounds good to me. I'm pleased to hear that. And is there anything that didn't go well, or anything that didn't work as well as you expected?
No, I think for where the business is and where we are in terms of how we use the data and what we want to look at data, I think Forecast Forge gives them everything they need from every top level to understand what it is, and there's always going to be a need and a demand and a requirement for that. I guess the moment comes when more sophisticated, advanced questions come out of it as well. But this is like a base for everyone that needs to understand just what's your actual, what's your forecast, and how can I do it in a easy, simplified way with low risk cost. And Forecast Forge gives you that.
Great. I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you. And is there anything else you would like to say, or think I should be asking?
Um, no, I think that covers it all. I think forecast. I think from my perspective, for the client I work with, it gives them everything they want on a low risk, low cost area for them to advance the analytics, and take it further down the line. But it's still baby steps in that. It's still baby steps.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more to it than just the machine learning side, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Dipesh from depeshshah.com.